Once you have iMovie open, you are ready to start a new project. So let's go to File, New Project. I'm going to title this iMovie Demo, but you could title this Name Test or whatever you happen to be working on. Set my aspect ratio to standard so nothing gets cut off. And leave my frame rate at 30 frames per second, NTSC, which is the American version, and PAL is your European version, so NTSC it is. You can use project themes and movie trailers for other projects, just not this one. And adding your transitions between photographs, we're going to leave blank. Let's hit Create. One thing you want to do right off the bat is go to File and go to Project Properties and remove the Ken Burns effect. This zooms in and out of photographs as they go through. Nice for slideshows, not so nice for stop motion. Let's choose Fit in Frame. And OK, now it's set for the rest of your project. Now I'm going to take my photographs and I'm going to drag them to my timeline and drop, and they will add. Could take a little bit of time depending on how many you have. Once they're all loaded, we can see that they equal out to be 10 minutes and 28 seconds. We can also see by the time on each individual photograph that it's playing for 4 seconds, which is way too slow for our purposes. So we can double click on any one of those clips. I'm going to set my duration to be 0.1, that's the fastest you can do in iMovie, and I'm going to apply it to all the still photographs. I'm going to hit done. Notice we're now down to 20 seconds. If you hit your space bar, wherever that red line is, your scrubber, that is going to play your film. You can also hit this little button right here, play project full screen playback, or you can just play it right from the beginning. So at this point, notice that it's a little bit yellow. So I'm going to hit Command A to choose all of my photographs. I'm going to double click on that again. I'm going to choose video this time. So notice that you get an option to fix your contrast by your levels adjustment, exposure, brightness, contrast, saturation. But what you can also do is take your white point, because if you notice, some of these photographs are a little bit on the yellow side. So what I can do is I can take my white point and I'm just going to add a little bit of blue because that is the opposite of yellow. And notice that it whitens it up. You see that in the preview screen. And I'm going to hit done, and that should do it for all of the photographs that I have selected. So at this point, you would want your movie to fade in and fade out. So I'm going to hit my transition option right here, and it could be fade to black, fade to white. I tend to like fade to black or fade to white. I'm going to drag and drop it at the beginning of my timeline, and then I'm going to go to the bottom and drag and drop it right at the end. So there, when I play it, it fades in, and then at the end it will fade out exactly how I want it. You could always make that longer by double clicking on it and changing the duration of that particular clip if you wanted to make your transition longer or any of your clips a little bit longer. But 0.1 should be the standard. So from here, we're ready to add our music. So what we can do is I'm going to double click on Picture Book The Kinks, and I'm going to recommend that you open it up in iTunes, and then it will be there ready for you to go. Sometimes it gives you a hard time otherwise. So now I'm going to hit my music button, and in here is going to be the music that I would like to use. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my music and I'm going to drag and drop it into my timeline. Now I'm going to recommend you don't highlight it like this, just drop it right at the beginning. You should get a line that looks similar to this. Now what's nice about this is that we can press our audio waveforms button, which will give us a little bit more to look at in terms of our audio. And if you notice at the beginning of Picture Book, there's not any music playing, so we can clip that out. So I'm going to put my cursor right before the audio wavelength begins, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to choose Split Clip. It will basically cut the clip exactly where your scrubber is. And then I can click on that beginning clip that has no music playing and hit delete. Then you're going to want to take this music clip, look for the little white hand, and you can just drag it up to the beginning of your film. and then when you play it, it'll automatically start playing, exactly as you wish. Now, what sometimes can happen is if you cut out part of it, you have to go down to the bottom and simply elongate it or stretch it out all the way to the end of your film, which is not a big deal. Just look for the double arrow, drag it right down. Now what you'll also notice is that when you play it, it abruptly ends, which you also want that to fade out. So let's double click on our audio, green audio file, and choose audio. And this will allow us to choose fade out. I tend to think half a second's not long enough, so sometimes 2 or 3 seconds is a better option. So now when we play it, it fades out nice and easily. So from here you are pretty much ready to go, and you're going to be playing this for me with your name test. But if you were finishing your project, to submit to VH Projects, you would go up to Share, go down to Export using QuickTime, and you would choose your VH Projects folder, and you would save it into there as your name .mov, a movie file for me to grade. Good luck!